Hi, my name is Jason Solis. I am the writer and illustrator creator of Perk at Work. I was going to say videotaped myself drawing this comic strip, but I guess we don't videotape anymore. I just use my iPhone, set it up, and I thought I'd share that with you. What you're seeing right now is a comic that is featuring Sheryl and, of course, Perk. This comic will be out May 22nd, 2020. If you're watching it after then it was out May 22nd, 2020. Thank you for watching. Before I get into what I'm drawing here, it's good to know, or I'd like to share, that I did not necessarily mean to start drawing Perk at Work again. I had no idea when I would start drawing, if I was ever going to start drawing it again. But I started feeling inspired. And I thought if you look back at any of the older Perk at Works, they're all linear for the most part, meaning that they're all in a long line. Because when I started it, I wanted it to be in a newspaper. Now, that's probably not going to happen now because newspapers, of course, are going the way of the dodo bird, so I hear. Although, if somebody wants to syndicate me, by all means, I will. But I noticed that people were looking at comic strips or comics on Instagram. And I thought, well, why not just put it in a square format and put it on Instagram? So that is what you're looking at right now. I've been trying it. I have a few comics out there so far, and I'm enjoying it. I like putting it out there in that format. I still have it available on my website, but why not just have it on Instagram? I think that's where people are. People like seeing it. I put it across, the different social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, even put on LinkedIn. Don't know how many people are seeing it there. I guess I'll figure that out, or I'll find that out. But in any case, that's what's happening. So let me tell you a little bit about my process now. What you're looking at is Bristol board paper. I buy the 14 by 17, I believe, and I cut it to 8.5 by 11 sizes for a couple reasons. One is that it makes it pretty convenient to have it that size if I ever wanted to frame it and either give it away to somebody or sell it. Who knows? Secondly, it's a nice area to work in. I guess maybe because we've been doing it our whole lives, meaning working on 8.5 by 11 paper, it just feels normal to be drawing on that. I like to doodle on just regular copy paper, so this really fits well. I make it, right now I'm just doing 4 panels, 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the cool things about just so you know, the 4 panels are pretty much even squares. They're not your traditional 4 panels like in a 4-panel comic strip. They're just basically squares that fit into one big square. And I do that just for convenience sake for Instagram because, like I said, I may not be in a newspaper, and why not? In any case, in working with the 4 panels, now I know that classic is 3 panels, and that's a real quick gag, like bam, bam, bam. 4 panels is a little bit more of you get to tell a little bit more of a story. I really like how Walt Kelly did Pogo, and most of his strips, if you look at them, are 4 panels. And he's able to draw out a little bit of a story, and sometimes, of course, it's all part of a bigger storyline, and these are gag a day. My Perk at Work's a gag a day. It's not a long storyline, but I like the fact that I could add a little bit more in 4 panels. It seems like it wouldn't be that big of a difference, but it is. 3 panels to 4 panels is a huge jump. Setting up the gag with 4 panels, you get to add a little more exposition, if you will. I know some people don't like that. They like the quick bam, bam, bam. However, the real quick 3 panel, to me, it can get a little stale. Not saying that I don't know how to do it. Of course, if you look back at my comics, you'll see plenty of 3 panels. I can do it. It's just when I say it gets stale for me to do. It gets stale for me to write. I like writing a little bit more, and my humor has been, I guess, criticized or I don't want to say defined, described, I guess, as more layered, and I don't mind that. I know that there's the people who like this type of humor, my type of humor, they like it. And why change myself to fit something else that I'm not? Just do what I do. I think that's good for all of us. In any case, I'll tell you a little bit about where I'm at in terms of the way I'm drawing these comics now. Like I said, this is Bristol board, and these are pens, of course, as you can see on Bristol board. They're not brush pens. They're kind of calligraphy pens. I don't know exactly what they're called. As you can see on the side, it has some Japanese, I believe, or I don't know the actual language that it is, but I found them on Amazon. I'll probably put a link underneath here so that you can see what they are. I really like them. You get 2 pens. That's all. You just get 2 pens. One is a smaller brush, I guess you could say, and the other is a larger brush. And of all the pens that I've used that are brush pens, these are amazing. These are the best. So now, just like any artist will tell you, or any cartoonist will tell you, it's not so much the tools that you have to work with, it's the practice and the skill that you make. However, after a certain point, when you do have the skills, the tools can make a big difference. And finding tools that you love makes a huge difference. So let me get to talking about this actual strip. Now, I'll put a link to the strip, the final strip, so you can see it. And I will probably post this video about the same time that I post the strip so that I can actually put that link. And if not, I'll go in and redo it. So you can see the lines that I get with this pen, going back to the pen, when you're talking to a cartoonist, you're talking to an artist and talk about their pens and whatnot, are very, I don't want to say bold, they're thick, and I get to play around with line width, which is something that, quite honestly, I've never worked at it as much as I guess I should have. I've practiced it, as you can probably see, I've practiced it a good amount, but I'm not exactly where I need to be. You see people who do great line width out there, like Will Eisner folks and whatnot, Sergio Aragonés, excellent line width. Sergio is so subtle with his line width, but it works, and I love it. I'm still working on it, as you can see. It's good to note that at this size, this 8.5 by 11, some of the detail can get a little bit hard with a brush pen. I've got to, and I'm still working on it. This is about the 5th or 6th strip that I've done with these brush pens. And I guess what I'm saying is that I'm building my confidence with these pens. And if you are an artist out there, you'll understand what I'm saying. I mean, so you've got to build your confidence with your medium. There's this learning curve that you're always trying to build more and more confidence with whatever medium you're working with, hopefully. And maybe get to that super sweet spot where I've got it down. Not quite there yet for me. Of course, I took a big long break from drawing for, I don't know, I think over a year. In any case, when I started, it took me about, about 2 weeks or so, and I kind of got back it took me about 2 weeks to kind of brush off the cobwebs, and I'm back at it. Now, what I really like to work on, if you have seen some of these comics, is the expressions. I love expressions, which, you can get away with less expression with, of course, it's always the eyes, right? You'll always look at the eyes, and different people can do a lot with the eyes and a very simplistic type of image. For instance, like South Park or The Simpsons, right? Not very complex character drawings, but yet they can really, really emphasize the expressions with those basic shapes and whatnot. always a great study to look at those if you're an artist, if you're an aspiring artist. And that's something I'll bring up for folks who are aspiring artists, who maybe you want to start a web comic and you just want to do it for fun. Maybe you want to do it for money, although doing it for money is, if you're going to do it for money, you need to have, how shall I say, you got to get that business sense. Web comics are not an easy way to make money, at least not for the majority of people. Some people make a lot of money, but it's like anything. It's like Price's Law. The square root of all the contenders are going to make 50% of the money, if you will. And that's not a lamentation on my part. I've made money with Perk at Work. I haven't up to this point made living money, but that's not quite why I do it. In any case, if you're wanting to start a web comic and you're wanting some tips or whatnot, one of the tips that I'll give, and you can see right now what I'm doing, is I'm actually drawing by hand. There's a lot of people who want to take some sort of strange shortcuts, meaning that they want a computer program that's going to help them draw better, or they want something that like images that they can trace, or they want to create sprites. Sprites are static images that they can just change the mouth on or whatnot, and that's not a bad thing. And by all means, if that's your style and you want to do that, or if you're just barely starting and you don't know how to draw and sprites will work for you, by all means, do it. What I would recommend, though, if you want to be a cartoonist, is get out your paper, get out your pencils, get out your pens, and just draw. Just draw. And don't look for shortcuts. In fact, sometimes the best thing you could do is to work your way through something that's hard. Meaning that if you can't draw hands, don't try to find hands and trace them. Take pictures of them and trace them. You can. And people have done that before, and I've even done that in a couple comics. But what I found is that when I had to draw that same angle of that same hand, it was hard the next time because I never really figured it out. So do the hard work. Try to get better. Of course, you always want to try to get better, right? Don't slack on the writing. When you're first starting, write and have people read it, tell you if you're good, if you're bad, people you can trust, and you'll get there. I'm nearing the end of this video, so I'll probably leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'd like to create more of these. Thank you for visiting.